Thank you very much, everybody. Today was breathtaking. This room, you saw what went on. It was breathtaking and amazing testimony. This is a trial that should have never happened. This is a case that should have never been filed, and it was really an incredible day. Open your eyes, and we can't let this continue to happen to our country. On another matter, you know, the economy has just been reported to be doing very badly. The stock market's way down, and some horrible numbers came out, including very high numbers on inflation, and in particular gasoline at $7.50 in California. That usually leads the way. It's going to happen here, too. And very importantly, as you look at the various colleges all over the country and beyond colleges, because it's happening in other areas too. You see what's happening on the front having to do with Palestine and Israel and protests and hate, anger. Biden is sending an absolutely horrible message. Horrible, horrible message. He has no idea how to message. He can't speak. He can't put two sentences together. He doesn't know what to do. This is not our president. This is somebody that shouldn't be doing what he's doing because he can't do it. He can't do it well. We're having protests all over. He was talking about Charlottesville. Charlottesville was a little peanut, and it was nothing compared, and the hate wasn't the kind of hate that you have here. This is tremendous hate, and we have a man that can't talk about it because he doesn't understand it. He doesn't understand what's going on with our country. He doesn't understand that all over the world we're being laughed at as a country because of him and his administration. And today we had, I hear, because I was forced to be here, and I'm glad I was because it was a very interesting day in a certain way, but the U.S. Supreme Court had a monumental hearing on immunity, and the immunity having to do with presidential immunity. And I think it was made clear, I hope it was made clear, that a president has to have immunity. You don't have a president, or at most you can say it would be a ceremonial president. That's not what the founders had in mind. And they're not talking about ceremonial. We want presidents that can get things done and bring people together. So I heard the meeting was quite amazing. Quite amazing, and the justices were on their game. So let's see how that all turns out. But again, I say presidential immunity, very powerful. Presidential immunity is imperative, or you practically won't have a country anymore. Thank you very much. Thank you.
What's your response to Arizona indictment yesterday?
That is Donald Trump speaking after yet another day of court in his hush money trial. And again, we listened to the testimony, or I should say jurors listened to the testimony of David Pecker today. Donald Trump saying that the case never should have happened. He then pivoted to attacking Biden over what we are seeing, the unrest on college campuses, attack the economy, new economic numbers that came out today, the gross domestic product. U.S. growth did slow in the first quarter, but inflation did remain a concern. We should say, in terms of whether this case should have ever been brought, we should remind our viewers it was brought by a grand jury, Trump now being judged by a jury of his peers. Let me turn to NBC's Dasha Burns very quickly. Dasha, what was your takeaway? He also weighed in on the arguments before the Supreme Court today, saying it was made clear that a president has to have immunity. He was basically saying that's what his lawyers were arguing. He said the justices were on their game. But again, we don't know what they are going to decide. And by all accounts, they do not seem poised to give him the broad immunity that he is seeking.
No, I mean, it was a pretty robust question and answer exchange between the justices and lawyers, both for the Justice Department and for former President Trump. Not clear at all where this is ultimately going to land. There was a lot of skepticism of the arguments on the part of Trump's lawyers. And again, just a robust discussion like so many of these Supreme Court hearings are really fascinating. I also want to just fact check one other piece of information he said there, Kristen. He said that gas is $7.50 in California. I just did a quick search. According to the AAA average of California, it's actually $5.04, and I did not see it at $7 in any of California's counties. So still a high price for gas in that state, but not quite as high as the former president was talking about. But yeah, he did call the Supreme Court arguments amazing, saying that justices were on their game. And otherwise, he is really sticking to the message that we hear over and over again when he talks to reporters outside of the court, just saying that this is unfair, that this should have never been brought. One thing we didn't hear from him today, at least in the remarks just now, is any attack on the witnesses themselves, which, as we know, has been a subject of controversy and is a subject of an attempt on the part of the prosecution to hold Trump in contempt for violating those gag orders. We are still waiting to hear from Judge Merchan on the motions that they brought up.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.